Hi, my name is Harish Kundapu. I'm pursuing MTech from IIT Tirupati in Electrical Engineering Department. As a part of my course, I'm doing this presentation. This presentation is about the development of object detection techniques in the past 2 decades. Sorry for the pronunciation of other name. I find it a bit difficult to pronounce. So sorry for that. Well, coming to the paper, this paper was written by Zhengxia Zhou, Zhenwei Shi, Yu Hongyo, Jiping Ye. These are the members of IEEE committee. Nowadays, object detection has acquired a lot of attention. It has many applications in the present world. This is already in practice in many fields. For example, face recognition, automatic driving system, even in medical field also. Similar to its advantages, there are many challenges in it. For example, if we want to recognize a face, then the challenges in it are illumination changes, occlusions, etc. By overcoming these challenges, many techniques have evolved in the past 2 decades. It has evolved both in terms of computational efficiency as well as accuracy. The growth in research papers published in the past 2 decades will clearly say that how important the object detection is. Here we can see from 1998 to 2018, it has rapidly increased from nearly 80 to 90 papers to 1200 papers a year. This clearly shows that object detection is very important in recent world or in present scenarios we can say. I will try to give a brief detail on object detection techniques and basic details on how it is computed and what are the drawbacks of it. I'll just give the basic details of object detection techniques which have created a milestone, in other words, which has created revolution in object detection techniques. The timeline has divided into two parts according to the author, that is before 2014 and after 2014. Before 2014, it is referred to as traditional detection methods era, and after 2014, it is referred to as deep learning based detection era. There have been brought many changes from traditional era to deep learning era, and even the deep learning era was divided into two parts. One is one stage detector and the other is two stage detector, and we'll talk about it later. First, let's discuss about the traditional era. In traditional era, we have three milestones or three revolutionary object detection techniques. One is BJ detection method or Euler-Jones detection method, and the other is HOG detection method or referred as histogram of orientation of gradient, and the last one is DPM. In other words, deformable part-based model. Now I will explain one by one. First, let's see VJ detection method, formerly known as Euler-Jones detection method. This is the first ever detection method which was developed to detect real-time human faces without any constraints. It was developed by P. Euler and M. Jones. This detector follows a straightforward way of detection, that is, sliding a window through all possible locations and scales in an image to see if any window contains a human face or not. Gradually, even this detector has undergone many changes to improve its detection speed. For this, three types of techniques were introduced into this algorithm. One is integral image, second is feature selection, and the third is detection cascade. These three methods have changed the performance of VJ detection algorithm. Next, let's see HOG detection method. In other words, histogram of orientation of gradient detection method. HOG is a feature descriptor. It was proposed by N. Dalal and B. Triggs in the year 2005. This is considered as an important improvement of SIFT algorithm. Still now, many of the detectors use HOG in one of its algorithms part. What HOG does is, it finds the gradients of an image pixel and also the orientation of the image itself, and then it combines both the histograms by giving weight according to the gradient value for that particular orientation. For example, if we have an image patch, we find its orientation as well as gradient. The orientation is binned according to our requirement. Let us say we have binned it into 9 parts. Now let's see each values individually. If we get 10 degrees, then the corresponding gradient value is added to the bin number 1. If we get 30 degrees, then corresponding gradient value is added to the second bin. Likewise, the HOG works. Its drawback is, for each patch we will get individual HOGs for accuracy. So we will get a large number of HOGs for an entire image. This increases computational complexity. Now let's come to DPM. In other words, deformable part-based model. This algorithm is based on divide and conquer rule. Its training is considered as the learning of proper way of decomposing an object, and the inference can be considered as an assemble of detections on different object parts. For example, if you want to detect a car using DPM, then it is considered as detection of windows, body and wheels. But even this is also computationally complex. A typical DPM detector consists of a root filter and a number of part filters. Instead of manually configuring the part filters, a weakly supervised learning method can be developed in DPM where all configurations of part filters can be learned automatically. Some important techniques are embedded into it by R. Gersik to improve the detection accuracy of DPM. Some of them are hard negative mining, bounding box regression, and context priming. But after that, many object detection techniques have been evolved, but still many of these detectors, the recent detectors, uses valuable insights of DPM like mixture model, hard negative mining, bounding box regression, etc. Now let us come to the deep learning era. Nowadays we are having high powered GPUs which are computationally efficient and accurate. In deep learning era, we have two stages. One is one stage detector and the other is two stage detector. First, let's see the two stage detector. In this, the milestones are RCNN. In other words, region convolution neural network. Next milestone is SPPNet, spatial pyramid pooling network. And the next is fast RCNN. It is an advanced version of RNN. And the next is faster RCNN. This is the advanced version of fast RCNN. Next comes the pyramid network. Let's see them one by one. The first is RCNN, also known as region convolutional neural network. This algorithm is very simple. It extracts a set of object proposals from a given image by selective search. Then each proposal is rescaled to a fixed size image and fed into CNN model to extract features. Finally, linear SVM classifiers are used to predict the presence of an object within the given region or not, and also to recognize the object categories. Its drawbacks are redundant feature computation on a large number of overlapped proposals. This increases the computational complexity and slows down the detection speed. Now, let us consider SPPNet, in other words, Spatial Pyramid Pooling Network. Previous CNN models before SSPNet uses a fixed size input, but when SSPNet came into picture, it enables CNN to generate a fixed length representation irrespective of the size of the image or the region of interest without rescaling it. Using SSPNet, we can compute the feature map of an entire image only once, and fixed length representation of arbitrary regions can be generated for training the detector. This avoids the repeatedly computing of convolutional features. SSPNet is much faster than RCNN and also accurate. Even SSPNet has some drawbacks. Here, still the training is multi-staged, and SSPNet only fine-tunes its fully connected layer while simply ignores all previous layers. Now, let us come to fast RCNN. The main advantage of fast RCNN is here we can simultaneously train a detector and a bounding box regressor under the same network configuration. This fast RCNN successfully integrates the advantages of RCNN and SPPNet, but still it has some drawbacks. Those are its detection speed is still limited by proposal detection. Now let us come to faster RCNN. This is the first end-to-end and first near real-time deep learning detector. The main advantage of faster RCNN is the introduction of region proposal network, which enables nearly cost-free region proposals. Here, the end-to-end learning framework consists of many object detection systems like proposal detection, feature extraction, bounding box regression, etc. The integration of all these individual blocks makes an end-to-end learning framework. Even faster RCNN has some drawbacks. It is the computation redundancy at subsequent detection stage. This reduces the detection speed and increases computation complexity. Now, let's come to pyramid network. This is also known as feature pyramid network. Before this technique, most of the deep learning based detectors run only the detection part on the network's top layer. Even though the features in deeper layers of CNN are beneficial for category recognition, it is not conducive to localizing objects. To avoid this, a top-down architecture with lateral connections are developed for building pyramid networks at all scales. This feature pyramid network shows a great advantage for detecting objects with a wide variety of scales. In recent object detection techniques, this feature pyramid network has become a basic building block of many detectors. Now, let's come to the one-stage detector. The milestones in it are YOLO. In other words, you only look once. And the second is SSD. In other words, single shot multi-box detector. And the next is RetinaNet. First, let's discuss about YOLO. In other words, you only look once. This was proposed by R. Joseph in the year 2015. This was the first one-stage detector in deep learning era. This is extremely fast when compared to traditional detection methods. This doesn't follow the previous detection principles, that is proposal detection plus verification. Instead of it, it follows a totally different philosophy, that is to apply a single neural network to the full image. The working of YOLO is it divides the image into regions and predicts bounding boxes and the probabilities of each region simultaneously. This improves the detection speed. This has some drawbacks. It has less localization accuracy when compared with two-stage detectors, especially for small objects. Now let's come to SSD, also known as single shot multi-box detector. This was proposed by W. Liu in the year 2015. The main advantage of SSD is multi-reference and multi-resolution detection techniques, which has significantly improved the detection accuracy of one-stage detectors, especially for small objects. The main difference between SSD and its previous object detectors is SSD detects objects of different scales on different layers of the network, while the other object detectors only detects the objects on their top layer. Now let us come to RetinaNet. In despite of its high speed and simplicity, the one-stage detectors have trailed the accuracy of two-stage detectors for years. T.Y. Lin has discovered the reason behind this and proposed this RetinaNet algorithm. He claimed that extreme foreground-background class imbalance encountered during training of dense detectors is the central cause. To avoid this, he has formulated a new loss function named focal loss. It works by reshaping the standard cross-entropy loss so that the detector will put more focus on hard misclassified examples during training. The focal loss enables the one-stage detector to achieve comparable accuracy of two-stage detector while maintaining very high detection speed. Here we can see the flags marked in yellow color. These are the technical evolutions in object detection. We'll discuss about it later. For training any neural network, we need datasets. Based on datasets, the neural network model is designed by overcoming the errors in it. For example, if we want to detect a face, then we need a dataset in which the features of a face in all directions and in all possible angles and illumination changes, occlusions, etc. will be there so that the detection accuracy can be increased. Building large datasets with less bias is critical for developing advanced computer vision algorithms. A number of well-known datasets and benchmarks have been released in the past 10 years. Here we have some of the datasets along with their accuracy. Here VOC07 has high accuracy among them. It has evolved in the past 10 years. VOC stands for Visual Object Classes. The object detection accuracy has been increased with these datasets. This graph was made by using the object detectors DPM version 1, DPM version 5, RCNN, SPPNet, Fast RCNN, Faster RCNN, SSD, FPN, RetinaNet, RefineNet, TridentNet. These names can be a bit annoying, but these are some of the detectors, and in them we have learned the DPM, deformable path-based model, and we have also learned RCNN, which is region convolution neural network, SPPNet, which is spatial pyramid pooling network, and next fast RCNN, faster RCNN, and SSD single shot multi-box detector, FPN feature pyramid network, and RetinaNet. Now let us see some of the examples of dataset images. Here, Pascal VOC 7 dataset are these images. Like this, we have ILSVRC, MS COCO, and Open Images examples. Each dataset contributes a different class of images. We have different datasets for detecting different types of objects. For example, if we want to detect pedestrian walking, then we have different datasets, and for face recognition, we have different datasets. For traffic lights and traffic signs detection, we have different datasets, and for text detection, we have different datasets. We'll come across it in a bit of time, but first I just want to give an example of how the datasets will be and what datasets contain. Now let's see the different types of datasets and how the training and validation will be performed in it. Now we have VOC 07. Actually 07 is the year 2007, and VOC stands for Visual Object Classes. In that, for training, these datasets contain 2501 images and 6301 objects in those images. For validation, we will be using 2510 images and objects are 6307. And for training and validation combinedly, we will use 5011 images and objects are 12608 images. For testing, we will be using 4952 images and objects in it are 14976. Like this, we have different data sets and their strategies or statistics. Previously, I have said that we have different data sets for different object detection. For pedestrian detection, we have MIT pedestrian dataset, INRIA dataset, Caltech dataset, Kitty dataset, City Persons dataset, and EuroCity. EuroCity is the latest dataset, but among them, INRIA is the famous dataset for pedestrian detection. And for face detections, we have FDDB, AFLW, IJB, Wider Face, UFDD, and Wildest Faces. Wildest Faces is the latest dataset, but among them, FDDB is the famous. And for text detection, we have ICDAR, STV, MSRA, TD500, IIIT 5K, SYN 90K, COCO Text. COCO Text is the latest dataset, but among these, ICDAR is the famous dataset for text detection. And for traffic light and sign detection, we have TLR, LISA, GTS DD, Belgian TSD, TT100K, BSTL. BSTL is the latest dataset, but LISA is famous among these for traffic lights and sign detection. And for remote sensing target detection, we have TAS, OIRDS, DLR3K, UCAS, AOD, VEBAI, NWPU, VH, R10, LEVIR, DOTA, XV. Among these, XV is the latest dataset, but TAS is famous among these datasets for remote sensing target detection. These dataset names are quite different, but the names are given based on the developer. But there is no need to learn all these datasets. These datasets are predefined. we can use them anytime and anywhere if we want to use it. Now let's discuss about the technical evolution in object detection. Previously, I have circled the yellow color flags in the roadmap of object detection from 1998 to 2018. Those are the technical evolution in object detection. Let's discuss them one by one. First, let's discuss about the technical evolution in traditional apps. At the beginning of object detection, there is no unified detection philosophy like sliding window detection. Detectors at that time were usually designed based on low-level and mid-level vision, like detection of components, shapes, and edges. Earlier, recognition by components is an important cognitive theory and has been the core idea of image recognition and object detection. After that, some researchers have framed the object detection as a measurement of similarity between the object components, shapes, contours, including distance transforms, shape contact, edgelet, etc. Though initially it has given quite good results, it did not work well on complex detection. Then machine learning came into picture based on detection methods has gone through multiple periods including the statistical models of appearance, wavelet feature representation and gradient based representation. Building statistical models of an object like eigenfaces was the first way of learning based approach in object detection history. Compared with the rule-based or template-based approaches of its time, a statistical model better provides holistic description of an object's appearance by learning task-specific knowledge from data. Next, wavelet feature transform started to dominate visual recognition and object detection since 2000. It performs based on learning by transforming an image from pixels to a set of wavelet coefficients. Among these wavelet methods, Haar wavelet method achieves high computational efficiency. In many object detection techniques such as general object detection, face detection, pedestrian detection, etc. The beginning of CNN for object detection. The CNN was first proposed by Y. Lee Kun in the year 1990s. Due to limitations in computational resources, CNN models at that time were much smaller and shallower than those of today. Despite this, the computational efficiency was still considered as one of the tough nuts to crack in early times CNN-based detection models. Here in this picture, you can see the basic model or the basic idea how these techniques were implemented. Here, these are the eigenspaces. This is shared weight network. This is space displacement network, and this is Haar wavelet method. Now let's see the technical evolution of multi-scale detection. Multi-scale detection of objects with different sizes and different aspect ratios is one of the main technical challenges in object detection. In the past 2 decades, multi-scale detection has gone through multiple historical periods, namely feature pyramids and sliding window. It is before 2014, and next detection with object proposals from 2010 to 2015. Next, deep regression from 2013 to 2016. Multi-reference detection, which is after 2015, and multi-resolution detection, which is after 2016. Let's see them one by one. First, let's see feature pyramids and sliding window. With the increase of computation power after the VJ detector, that is Voila and Jones detector, researchers started to pay attention to an intuitive way of detecting by building feature pyramids plus sliding windows. Early detection models like VJ detector and HOG detector were specifically designed to detect objects with a fixed aspect ratio. By simply building the feature pyramid and sliding fixed size detection window on it, the detection of various aspect ratios was not considered at that time. To detect objects with a more complex appearance, a mixture model was proposed. To train multiple models to detect objects with different aspects. As objects in the modern dataset become more diversified, the mixture models or exemplar-based models inevitably lead to more miscellaneous detection models. So to avoid this, detection with object proposals was introduced. Object proposals refer to a group of class agnostic candidate boxes that likely to contain any object. This method avoids the exhaustive sliding window search across an image. This method has high recall rate, high localization accuracy, and high precision and reduced processing time. At the beginning, this detection method follows a bottom-up detection philosophy. Later, with the help of deep CNN in visual recognition, a top-down learning-based approaches began to show more advantages in this problem. Now, let's see deep regression. In recent years, with the increase in GPU's computational power, the way people deal with multi-scale detection has become more and more straightforward and brute force. This method directly predicts the coordinates of a bounding box based on deep learning features. The main advantage of this approach is it is simple and easy to implement, and still it has some disadvantages. It is the localization may not be accurate enough, especially for small objects. Now let us come to multi-reference detection. It is the most popular framework for multi-scale object detection. The main idea of this method is to predefine a set of reference boxes with the different sizes and aspect ratios at different locations of an image, and then predict the detection box based on these references. Now let us see multi-resolution detection. It detects the objects of different scales at different layers of network. Since CNN naturally forms a feature pyramid during its forward propagation, it is easier to detect larger objects in deeper layers and smaller ones in shallow layers. Nowadays, multi-reference and multi-resolution detection has become two basic building blocks in the state-of-art object detection system. Here, we are having arrow marks for each method. These shows in which detector this method is being implemented. For example, feature pyramids and sliding window is implemented in VJ detector, Voila and Jones detector, HOG detector, DPM detector, etc. And detection with object proposals is implemented in RCNN, fast RCNN, and faster RCNN. Like that, each method is implemented in different type of detectors. Some detectors may have integration of two or more detection methods. For example, in faster CNN, we have detection with object proposal as well as detection with multi-reference detection method. Now let's see the technical evaluation of bounding box regression. The evaluation of bounding box regression can be divided into three stages. One is without bounding box regression, from bounding box to bounding box, and from features to bounding box. First, let's see without bounding box regression. Most of the earlier detection methods, such as VJ detectors and HOG detectors, do not use bounding box regression and usually directly consider the sliding window as the detection method. This technique is used before 2008 and from 2008 to 2013 from bounding box to bounding box regression was used. DPM is the first detector in which bounding box regression was used for the first time. Usually, the bounding box regression at that time was acted as a post-processing block, thus it is optional. Later, R. Gersick has introduced a more complex way to predict a bounding box based on complete configuration of an object hypothesis and formulated this process as linear least square regression problem. And after 2013, from feature to bounding box regression method has been popularized. After the introduction of faster RCNN, bounding box regression is no longer in service as an individual post-processing block, but it was integrated with the detector and trained in an end-to-end fashion. This regression loss is more robust to outliers than the least square loss used in DPM. Now let us talk about the technical evolution of context priming. Visual objects are usually embedded in a typical context with the surrounding environment. Our brain takes advantage of the association among objects and environments to facilitate visual perception and cognition. Context priming has been used to improve detection. For context priming, there are three common approaches. The one is detection with local context, and the other is detection with global context, and the last one is context interactive. Let's see them one by one. First, let's consider detection with local context. Local context refers to the visual information in the area that surrounds the object to detect. The inclusion of local context regions such as facial bounding contours substantially improves the face detection performance. Later, some researchers have found that incorporating a small amount of background information improves the accuracy of the detection. Recent deep learning based detectors also improved by adding local context by simply enlarging the network's reception field or the size of object proposals. Now let's see the detection with global context method. Global context exploits scene configuration as an additional source of information for object detection. At the beginning of object detectors, a common way of integrating global context is to integrate a statistical summary of the elements that comprise the scene, like GISC. For modern deep learning based detectors, there are two methods to integrate global context. The first one is by taking the advantage of large receptive field or global pooling operation of a CNN feature. And the second one is to think of the global context as a kind of sequential information and learn it with the recurrent neural network. Now, let us come to the last one, which is context interactive. It refers to the piece of information that conveys by the interactions of visual elements such as constraints and dependencies. For most object detectors, object instances are detected and recognized individually without exploiting their relations. Some of the recent researchers have suggested that modern object detectors can be improved by considering context interactive. Now let us see the technical evolutions of non-maximum suppression. This is an important group of techniques in object detection. As the neighboring windows usually have similar detection scores, the non-maximum suppression is used as a post-processing step to remove the replicated bounding boxes and obtain the final detection result. During the past 2 decades, non-maximum suppression has gradually developed into the following three groups. One is greedy elements, selection, the second one is bounding box regression, and the third one is learning to non-maximum suppression. Now, first let's see the greedy selection. The main idea of greedy selection is for a set of overlap detection, the bounding box with the maximum detection score is selected while its neighboring boxes are removed according to a predefined overlap threshold. Even it has some of the drawbacks. It is the top scoring box may not be the best fit. It may suppress the nearby objects also. And finally, it does not suppress false positives. Now let's see the bounding box aggregation. The idea of bounding box aggregation is the combination or the clustering of multiple overlapped bounding boxes into a final detection. The main advantage of this method is it takes full consideration of object relationships and their spatial layouts. Now let's see learning to non-maximum suppression. The main idea of it is to think non-maximum suppression as a filter to rescore all raw detection and to train the non-maximum suppression as a part of network in an end-to-end fashion. This method has given good results in improving the occlusion and dense object detection over traditional non-maximum suppression methods. Here we have some of the examples of non-maximum suppression. If we consider the car parked in a parking lot, if we want to find for how long or the distance up to which the cars are parked, we don't need to see individual cars there. We just have to see the entire parking area. For this, we can use non-maximum suppression, which gives only one bounding box. And here in the third image, if we want to detect the train, we don't require all the bounding boxes in the entire image. We just need only one image which contains train. This can be done by using non-maximum suppression. Now let's see the technical evaluation of hard negative mining. The training of an object detector is essentially an imbalanced data learning problem. Modern detection datasets require the prediction of object aspect ratio. Using all background data will be harmful to training as the vast number of easy negatives will overwhelm the learning process. The hard negative mining deals with the problems of imbalanced data during training. The hard negative mining has evolved into three different stages. One is bootstrap, second one is without hard negative mining, and the third one is bootstrap plus new loss function. The idea behind bootstrap is the training starts with a small part of background sample and then iteratively add new misclassified backgrounds during the training process. Initially, Bootstrap was introduced to reduce the training computation over millions of background samples. Later, it became a standard training technique in DPM and HOG detectors for solving data imbalance problems. Later in deep learning era, due to the improvement of computational power, the data imbalance problem during training detectors like faster RCNN and YOLO simply balance the weights between the positive and negative windows. Later, it is found that weight balancing cannot complete the imbalance data problem. To resolve this, the Bootstrap was reintroduced to deep learning based detectors. A new loss function was designed by reshaping the standard cross entropy loss so that it will put more focus on hard misclassified examples. Now let us see the changes occurred in detection methods. From bottom to top, the detection speed has drastically improved. The object detection techniques can be split into three groups. One is speed up of detection pipeline, speed up of detection engine, and speed up of numerical computation. Previously, we have seen a pyramid in which we have speed up of detection pipeline, speed up of detection engine, speed up of numerical computation. For these three stages, different types of algorithms and techniques are used. First, let's talk about our speed up of detection pipeline. Among different computational stages of object detectors, the feature extraction usually dominates the amount of computation. So, to reduce the computational expenses or the computational complexity, the feature extraction method should be more efficient. One of it is HOG. Even previously we have talked about HOG, that is histogram of orientation of gradient. Here, this is an example of HOG and how it is formulated. HOG is found for each patch image of an entire image. Here they have calculated the HOG for this patch. Here HOG contains orientation in this direction and gradient values in this direction. Now let us talk about the speed up of detection engine. It means that engine or the core algorithm which we use should be the fastest. One of the well-known is convolutional neural network, which we have already seen. Below is the diagram of how the neural networks have evolved. This is the standard convolution. Here, the feature map which we get will be convolved with the filter to get a feature map of D, which is used to match with the target image. This is the standard convolution, and it has evolved in different stages, like factorizing convolution filter, factorizing convolutional channels, group convolution, depth-wise separable convolution. This core algorithm has improved the detection speed a lot. These are generally known as lightweight network design. Now let's see the speed up of numerical computation. We all know frequency domain computation. To find the frequency of a signal, the frequency domain computation is very much faster and easier, because in frequency domain, for a particular signal, we will be having only one peak at that particular frequency. Similarly, the number of computations are also very less. So, by taking the advantage of it, we are using the frequency domain computation in image processing to reduce the computational complexity. In other words, to reduce the numerical computation. Here, the given image is converted into frequency domain. Generally, we won't convert the entire image into frequency domain. We will be converting the feature vector into the frequency domain, and we will be multiplying the filter, which is also in frequency domain, with the frequency domain feature to get a representation. And if we transform this frequency domain into spatial domain, we will be getting back the detection results. For an effective and efficient detection as well as fast detection, we need a high-speed detection engine. Due to the recent advancements in the GPUs, we have several detection engines like AlexNet, VGG, GoogleNet, ResNet, DenseNet, SCNet, etc. Now let us see the overall feature extraction accuracy for three detectors, namely FASTER RCNN, RFCN, and SSC. If we see overall results, then FASTER RCNN is more accurate when compared to RFCN and SSD. Here, it is able to extract many features with high accuracy. In other words, they have given the accuracy in terms of MAP, which is known as MAP stands for mean average precision. Now let us see how the training is done for multi-scale object detection. Most of the modern detectors rescale the input image to a fixed size and backpropagate the loss of objects in all scales. For example, here in single resolution image, we are rescaling the input image to a fixed size and backpropagating the loss of the object in all scales. This is scale 1, scale 2, scale 3, scale 4, like that. The drawback of doing this is there will be a scale imbalance problem. To mitigate this problem, a recent improvement is made, which is scale normalizing for image pyramids, which builds image pyramids at both the training and detection stages and only backpropagates the loss of some selected scales. Here, in multi-resolution images, backpropagates only selected object cells like this in scale 1, and this in scale 2, and this in scale 3. This somewhat solves the scale imbalance problem, but increases the computational complexity. As the days pass on, many high-speed GPUs are being developed. Not only that, the need for object detection is also getting built up day by day. As the need for object detection increases, the output expected is very high, like the computational output and the accuracy output. Not only that, there are many challenges which are still now unresolved. Some of them are given below according to their categories. First, let's see the examples of pedestrian detection challenges. Here, the image is getting blurred. Here we have occlusions. Here there are illumination changes. These are some of the challenges which we are trying to address these days. Now let's see some of the challenges in face detection. If we are in a group, then detecting face is the biggest challenge. In a photo group of people, we have many occluded faces and many small faces. So detecting a face in this group of image is very challenging. And we have these expressions, these blurs, illumination changes, etc. Even the face orientation makes the face detection complex. Now let's see the text detection challenges. In text detection challenges, the main challenge is the type of text. For each language, we have different type of text. If we want to detect a text or a word in a text, then that type of language should be given prior to the detector. In other words, the detector should be trained by using that particular language to detect the text. If we don't train the detector by using a particular text, then it gives many errors. Then there will be no use of using such type of detector. Now, let us see the challenges in traffic light and traffic sign detection. One is the blur images. One is the climate changes. The next is illumination changes. These all contribute to the increase in detection complexity of traffic lights and signs detection. Now let us see some of the remote sensing target detection challenges. If we are detecting a target using a satellite image, then even the clouds give false detection. For example, here in this image, this is the cloud, this is the ship. Let's assume that. Then the detector detects both the images as ships, but actually only one of them is a ship target. These are some of the challenges which are still difficult to address. Now let's see the conclusion of the paper. Many drastic changes were made in object detection techniques in the past 2 decades. This paper has not only explained the technical evolution but also mentioned the challenges that we have in present world. The paper has also suggested some of the improvements and extensions of the present object detection method. Let's see what the improvements can be made. The authors have suggested some of the future research topics like lightweight object detection, which means the object detectors which we are using right now require high GPU processor, but it can be designed in a lightweight object detection method so that it is even compatible with the mobiles also. Even though a great effort has been made in the recent years, the speed gap between a machine and a human eye still remains large, especially for detecting small objects. Secondly, they have suggested detection using AutoML. In the recent world, automatic is not a new word. I'll just give you a familiar example of it, like automatic washing machine, automatic driving cars, etc. If we are having automatic machines, then why can't we have automatic learning detectors? The authors have suggested automatic learning detectors so that the detection can be faster. And the others have also suggested detection needs domain adaptation, weakly supervised detection, small object detection, detection in videos, detection with information fusion. Detection of small objects is always a challenge, and even detection in videos is also a great challenge because in videos we have to consider the object frame by frame, which in turn increases the computational complexity and also the computational time. That's all. Thank you guys.